She gave up meals to buy books. Then the millionaire CEO discovered this amazing story and acted. In the heart of Maplewood, a small town that whispered the echoes of forgotten dreams, Clara Wilson's struggle was both heartbreaking and inspiring. At 32, she wore the mantle of a single mother like armor. Days melded into one as she juggled two jobs, one at the greasy diner, serving pancakes and coffee with a tired smile, the other as a cleaning lady scrubbing floors in the very homes of those who peered down their noses at her. Still, her greatest challenge was the shy girl who sat at home buried in books, her 11-year-old daughter, Lily. Clara often skipped meals, feeling her stomach grumble but knowing there was more at stake. Every dollar saved fed Lily's passion for stories, tales that whisked her away from their cramped apartment. The old bookstore downtown was a haven for them both. Its dusty shelves lined with second-hand books held the promise of knowledge and adventure, feeding Lily's brilliant mind. Clara would rummage through her pockets, pulling out coins, her heart racing each time she secured a new title for her daughter's collection. The deeper Lily got into her stories, the more Clara felt the weight of their reality. Neighbors whispered about her struggle, glancing over with pity plastered on their faces. Yet, Clara held her head high. She was determined to carve a better future for her daughter, who seemed destined for greatness despite the hurdles they faced. As fate would have it, one evening, down in the polished corridors of a high-rise in Hamilton, Ethan Mallory, a wealthy CEO disillusioned by the hollow life of relentless profits, stumbled upon Lily's Instagram post. It was titled "My Mom is My Hero" and showed Clara holding a stack of books, her eyes shining with unwavering love. The post went viral overnight, captivating hearts with the raw honesty of Clara's sacrifices. Ethan felt a twinge in his chest, a reminder of his own humble beginnings, and he found himself researching the story of this remarkable duo from Maplewood. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Feeling a pull to help, Ethan proposed a scholarship program aimed at children like Lily. Excitement buzzed through the town as word spread. But whispers of discontent bubbled up among his wealthy friends, who questioned why someone from a lower economic status deserved such opportunities. Clara, grappling with a whirlwind of emotions, heard the murmurs too. When Ethan reached out to Clara, his proposal felt like both a lifeline and a sharp blade. "It's not charity, it's about equality," he insisted, standing on the precipice of a disagreement. Clara's eyes were stormy as she challenged him, fierce pride igniting a moment of pure tension between them. She refused to be a charity case, a token of sympathy. Their encounter left unanswered questions swirling in the air like leaves caught in the autumn wind. Could help truly come from a world so different from hers? Just when Clara felt she might be losing ground, another twist emerged, threatening not only her resolve but their futures. Would she let the world and Ethan in, or keep battling alone, clinging to her dignity? Clara sat on the edge of her bed, staring at the blank wall in front of her. The weight of Ethan's proposal sat heavy on her shoulders, intertwining with her thoughts like a knot she couldn't unravel. Each time she closed her eyes, the same loop of emotional turmoil played in her mind. Could she accept help from a man who wore a suit like armor, while she fought battles in worn-down jeans? Lily's laughter spilled from the other room, pulling Clara from her spiral of doubt. She could hear her daughter flipping through the pages of a new book, absorbed in yet another world of wonder and magic. Clara forced herself to stand, to push through the whirlwind of feelings and walk toward the sound that filled her heart with warmth. "Mom!" Lily's voice rang out, excitement blazing in her eyes. "Look at this. It's about a girl who saves her village by using her knowledge from all the books she has read." Clara knelt beside her, brushing a lock of hair behind Lily's ear. The sheer joy radiating from her daughter made Clara's heart swell, but also ached with the burden of responsibility. "That's amazing, sweetheart. It sounds like a strong girl. She reminds me of you." Lily grinned, innocent and sincere. Clara felt a lump in her throat. Shouldn't the world be filled with people like Lily, bright-eyed and fueled by the promise of knowledge? Why should it be so hard for them? Yet every day, Clara faced grim realities. the bills that piled up, the empty plates, and the worry that echoed in her mind like an unwelcome companion. Just as Clara took a breath, the creaky door swung open. Ethan stood there, tall and composed, but for the first time, the facade of the wealthy CEO dropped a notch. "Can I come in?" he asked, his voice softened, stripped of the sharp urgency that usually accompanied business discussions. Clara hesitated, her heart racing. Part of her wanted to slam the door and run, but another part, the part that loved Lily fiercely and dreamed of a better life, felt compelled to step aside. "Sure," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. As he entered, Clara noticed the way his eyes flickered around the tiny apartment, taking in the stacks of books piled high and the fading wallpaper that seemed to hold all their memories. "I'm sorry for the intrusion," he said, a hint of regret in his tone. "I wanted to talk to you more about the scholarship idea." Clara crossed her arms, her protective instincts flaring. "It's not an idea. It's about you saving face, not about helping us." "Clara," he started, a flash of frustration crossing his features. "I genuinely believe in this. The only thing I want is to give kids like Lily a chance to chase their dreams. Just like I had." Tension electrified the air between them, it felt like sparks were bouncing off the walls. Clara's heart raced as she considered his words. The scholarship could change everything for Lily, open doors she never dreamed of. But at what cost? Just then, a crash echoed from the kitchen as a stack of plates tipped over, shattering the moment. Clara turned quickly, and through the chaos, she heard Ethan's voice behind her, low and determined. "I'm not just some millionaire looking for publicity. I'm just a guy who knows what it's like to fight for your dreams." Clara felt the sharp edge of potential. Could she trust him? Could she allow someone from a different world into their lives? The questions clawed at her resolve, and she turned slowly to face him. Maybe some battles were worth sharing. But, as the evening sun dipped low, casting shadows across the room, Clara couldn't shake the feeling that accepting help could mean losing more than she was willing to give. Just as she opened her mouth to respond, Lily interrupted them once again, her voice ringing with pure hope. "Mom, can we go to that bookstore tomorrow? I want to find a new adventure." In that moment, Clara knew her choice was about to get much more complicated. How would she face Lily if she said yes? Or if she said no? Would Clara keep fighting alone or embrace the possibility of change that felt both thrilling and terrifying? Little did she know, destiny had more in store for them than she could ever predict. Clara took a deep breath, a storm of emotions swirling inside her. Lily's excitement was infectious, brightening the dim corners of the room. "A bookstore trip, huh?" she said, forcing a smile. "You really want to get lost in another adventure?" "Absolutely." Lily's eyes sparkled like the stars outside. "And maybe we can find some stories that inspire us to be brave." The word brave pulled at Clara's heart. She felt all too aware that bravery was sometimes simply making it through the day. But in Lily's world, bravery meant tackling dragons and rescuing kingdoms. To her, stories were alive with possibilities, and they gave Clara hope. Ethan shifted slightly, drawing Clara's attention back to him. "You know," he began, his voice gentle, "I believe getting lost in stories can pave the way for stronger futures. That's why the scholarship idea has been weighing on me. I can help." Clara shot him a glare, her defenses rising anew. "What do you know about my life? It's not just stories for us, Ethan. It's real. It's about keeping food on the table and safety in our home." "I know." There was a sincerity in his eyes that made Clara's heart ache, yet she felt stuck behind her walls. How could she let him start to peel them away? "Can we talk more about this later?" she said, her voice softer now but still filled with caution. "Right now, we just need to focus on Lily's excitement." As Clara turned back to Lily, she saw her daughter already flipping through titles with an eagerness that spread warmth through the room. She felt Ethan's eyes on her, sparking a rush of tension. He took a step closer, his voice low. "You're making a mistake pushing me away. You're stronger than you know, but allowing someone to help can also be a part of being strong." Clara shot him a forced smile. "We'll see." But as they prepared for the bookstore, doubt crept back in. Could she really put faith in someone who had lived their life in a different world? The weight of her current choices pressed on her. At the bookstore, the air was filled with the musty scent of aging pages. As they wandered through the cozy aisles, Clara felt a mixture of comfort and anxiety. She'd been here countless times, dragging herself to the end of a defeated week. The thought of what Ethan had proposed lingered like a shimmering outline on the horizon, inviting yet disastrous. "Look, Mom!" Lily exclaimed, her voice echoing through the aisles. "If the main character is brave, then the villains aren't even scary, right? They just need to be faced." Clara's heart twisted. She was trying to face life's villains, yet here she was, standing on the edge of a new chapter. The uncertainty gnawed at her, but the laughter approaching filled with liveliness drew her attention. Ethan arrived unexpectedly at the store, casual and easy in a way that made Clara's heart flutter and her resolve waver. He held a stack of books in his arms, a warm smile on his face. "Inspire bravery with stories, huh? I figured we could make this a special event. I'd like to contribute to Lily's collection some chapters to join her journey." She watched him, surprise painting her features. "Ethan, you don't have to," but he interrupted, with a twinkle in his eyes. "I want to. These stories are meant to be shared, after all." Lily's excitement bubbled over as Ethan set down the books on the little table. Clara stood there, torn. Could she allow this man not only into their lives but also into their dreams and aspirations? What happens if things turn out differently? She thought, spiraling into the what-ifs. Would the help come with strings? As Lily darted towards the books, Clara could feel the ground shifting beneath her. This was a pivotal moment, a defining crossroad between independence and partnership, between fear and hope. But just as she thought she'd made a decision, a blaring alarm from her phone shattered the magic. A bill reminder flashed on her screen, ripping her attention back to the harsh reality. Would choosing to accept help mean denying her fight for survival, while the world around her felt like it was speeding up? Clara recognized this moment could change everything. What was she willing to risk for her daughter's brighter future? And was she brave enough to find the answer? Clara stood frozen, staring at the bright screen of her phone. The bill reminder felt like a weight in her chest, an anchor that threatened to pull her under. She glanced at Lily, blissfully absorbed in her new books, her small hands flipping through their pages with a wonder that seemed to shoot rays of light through the darkness surrounding Clara's thoughts. The laughter and chatter of people around them created a comforting backdrop, yet it felt distant, almost surreal. Ethan's presence loomed nearby, his books now a bridge between their worlds. But could they really connect? Could she truly accept his help without losing what little control she had? Taking a breath, she turned towards him. "How can you just walk into our lives and offer this?" The sharpness in her voice surprised even her. "We don't know each other. Why does my struggle matter to you?" Ethan took a moment, the surprise in his eyes fading into compassion. "Why?" "Because everyone has their battles. And I believe that stories can give courage, your courage, Lily's courage. It's not about just helping you. It's about creating a community." "A community?" Clara echoed, a laugh escaping her lips, half cynical, half intrigued. "You expect me to jump into a community, and what, share my problems over coffee? I'm not just a project to fix." "No," he replied softly but firmly, moving closer. "You're a woman full of strength. And strength can come from accepting help, not just from giving it. Think about Lily. She deserves the support and a story of bravery in her life. Isn't that worth considering?" Clara blinked, shaken. His words began to reverberate in her mind, challenging everything she held on to. In the depths of her heart, she understood, this wasn't merely about her or Lily, it was about bridging two worlds, their stark realities mixing with the possibilities of companionship, hope, even inspiration. Yet, doubt pulsed vigorously in her veins. What if it doesn't work? What if inviting you in means opening a floodgate of issues I'm not ready to face? Ethan searched her eyes, and for a moment, silence enveloped them. "What if it does work?" he asked, a hint of playfulness sparking in his expression. "What if we discover something new together? You could inspire bravery in Lily too. You could teach her how to face life just as fiercely as those heroes in the books." Lily glanced back, her eyes shining with excitement. Mom, can we read these later? I want you to see the adventure in them too. Her daughter's enthusiasm rekindled something within Clara. This was more than books or Ethan's help, it was about Lily's dreams, her desire to face dragons or villains, not just in stories but in life. Clara's heart raced. She could feel the tide beginning to shift. But the fear still held her back, the fear of not being enough, of letting her walls crumble at the hands of someone who didn't fully understand her struggles. With a deep breath, Clara whispered, "Okay, maybe I can start small. Just to see." Ethan's face lit up, a mixture of relief and encouragement manifesting in his smile. "That's all I ask." But the moment of shared understanding was suddenly interrupted as a woman nearby exclaimed loudly, "Did you hear about the CEO's charity project? He's giving away scholarships to help kids in need through writing." The rush of excitement in the air made Clara's heart skip. Could it be? Was there a chance that the very circumstances terrifying her could turn into an unexpected opportunity? The world outside her small bubble began to turn vibrant again. She could almost feel the winds of change swirling around them, a call to adventure she hadn't anticipated. As adrenaline coursed through her veins, Clara realized this was not only about giving Lily stories, it was about writing a new chapter for their lives. Now all that remained was to brave the unknown and take that first step into their new adventure. Yet as doubt wrestled with hope inside her, Clara couldn't help but wonder, what if the faith she placed in this moment led her towards something greater? And at that very instant, she could feel the fabric of her life shifting under her feet, hinting that the real adventure was just beginning. What awaited them on this uncharted path? Clara's heart beat faster as her mind whirled. She could see the story unfolding before her, Lily taking flight on the whim of words while she held on to her own fears. This charity project could be the bridge they needed. But what if it didn't pan out? What if this hope for change was just another false dawn? Ethan stepped into her thoughts, his warm gaze unwavering. "Do you believe in stories, Clara?" he asked gently. "The ones that change lives?" "Of course," she replied, almost defensively. "But stories can also end in disaster. They can hurt, and they can leave scars." A small silence followed her words. She could feel a part of her wanting to break free, to dare to dream. Yet self-doubt loomed like a heavy cloud, shrouding her aspirations. In that moment, she yearned for something, a spark of hope, an ember of courage. "I'm not asking for the world," Ethan said, sensing her inner battle. "Just take a step. This project might not just shine a light on your struggles but also showcase what you and Lily have to offer." Clara felt the warmth of his words sink in. She glanced at Lily, who was now deeply engrossed in a fantastical illustration of a dragon and a brave knight. Lily's faith in the magic of stories made Clara's own fears seem insignificant. What would it be like for her daughter to witness what true bravery looks like? Could I dare to see myself in this narrative? She thought. "Okay," Clara said, her voice stronger this time. "I'll do it. We'll reach out, and I'll share our story." Ethan's smile ignited something within her, a small flicker of hope. But then came a prick of worry. What if they don't see us as worthy? What if they think we're just some sad tale? "Every story has merit, Clara. Yours is rich with love, struggle, and triumph. That's what resonates," he said. "People connect with the realness of it. You have the power to inspire." "You sound like a motivational poster," she teased, but there was a softness beneath her teasing tone. "Then I hope it motivates you," he replied, his laughter ringing in the air. Lily beckoned them over, her bright eyes sparkling. "Mom! Look! You have to see what happens next." She held the book open, animatedly sharing the plot twist. Clara's heart flooded. Despite all the weight she carried, this moment was carved out perfectly, a gentle reminder of what truly mattered. But with the thrill of possibility came her own unresolved fears bubbling just beneath the surface. As Clara watched her daughter, visions of success danced in her imagination but hidden uncertainties crept in, they whispered doubts. What if sharing their story only magnified their pain? What if vulnerability led to rejection? Yet, just then, a sense of resolve washed over her. Despite the fears gnawing away, a stronger voice urged her to take this chance. Raising Lily to believe she could conquer the world meant Clara needed to prove to herself that she, too, could be brave. "Let us do this together, honey," she said, turning back to Lily, knowing the sacred bond they shared. In that instant, the noise around them quieted down. Their hearts synchronized, an unspoken promise binding them. Together, Lily echoed, spinning blissfully with excitement, but as they ventured to seize this moment, Clara felt something shift once more, a stirring instinct that told her this was only the beginning. Could this venture truly change everything? As thoughts collided with hope and fear, Clara was left considering one undeniable fact: in opening their hearts, would they discover a connection to something far beyond their wildest dreams? And with that, the journey began. But Clara couldn't shake the lingering question: what new challenges lay ahead as they stepped into their story, and would it ultimately lead them to the joy they so desperately craved? Clara's breath hitched as the weight of her decision settled in. They had taken a step forward, but a flood of uncertainty threatened to drown her. She could almost hear the heartbeat of doubt, echoing a rhythm that mirrored her own. "Mom?" Lily's voice pulled Clara back to the moment. The little girl pointed at the page, her eyes wide with delight. "Can we start working on our story tonight? Right after dinner?" "Yes, absolutely," Clara replied, forcing enthusiasm into her voice, even as her mind spiraled with what-ifs. It was so easy to get lost in the wonder of Lily's world. It filled Clara with light but also reminded her of what lay ahead: the vulnerability, the potential rejection. As she prepared dinner, she couldn't shake the feeling that their lives were about to change. The kitchen filled with the smell of simmering tomatoes and garlic, warming her heart. It was a comforting distraction. "Do you think Ethan's right about our story being worth telling?" Clara asked, wiping her hands on a dish towel. Lily tipped her head thoughtfully. "Of course. You always say that everyone has a story to share. And ours is special. I mean, it's about us." The sincerity in her daughter's eyes made Clara's heart swell. She thought about how Lily had always believed in magic, in possibilities. What would it be like for her to see that magic become real? Later that evening, after dinner and dishes, Clara sat beside Lily on the living room floor. Piles of colorful books surrounded them. Clara opened a journal, its blank pages waiting for the imprint of their thoughts. "Let's brainstorm. What should we say first?" Lily's face lit up. "Let us start with how we met. Remember that rainy day in the park?" Clara chuckled, recalling how drenched they had been. It was when so much had felt lost in her life, yet Lily pushed through the rain and splashed merrily around, reminding Clara that joy could always be found in unexpected places. "Then we can talk about the dragon stories I made up and how you always believed I could be a princess," Lily continued, her enthusiasm pouring out in giggles. As they wrote their story, Clara felt a warmth spread in her heart. This was it, that connection she had longed for was inching closer. Each word they penned was a step onto a stage where their voices could be heard. But the whispers of doubt returned. What if they didn't resonate? What if they told their story and no one listened? She fought against it, pushing memories of her struggles to the back of her mind. "Mom?" Lily's delicate voice cut through her thoughts again. "What if the people don't like our story?" Clara looked at her daughter, fear flickering in their shared gaze. "You know, honey, stories can be scary, but they're also powerful. We will share our truths. Some might love it, and others might not get it. But it's important to be honest. That's what makes it real." Lily nodded solemnly but then bounced back. "We can be brave together. Like the knight and the dragon." "Yes." Together, Clara agreed, her heart swelling with pride. Hours passed as they laughed and wrote, transforming their fears into words. Clara found herself lost in the rhythm of creation, and for a moment, the world outside slipped away. This was not just about the end result, it was about the journey, her journey with Lily. Eventually, they wrapped it up for the night, and Clara tucked Lily into bed, laying beside her for a moment. "Mom?" Lily whispered, dreamily. "Do you think stories can really change lives?" "I believe they can," Clara responded softly, her own heart awakening to the possibilities. But as she watched her daughter drift off to sleep, Clara couldn't shake the feeling that their journey was just beginning. The challenges ahead loomed large, and with each new day, a question lingered: what if the world was not ready for their truth? Outside the window, the night whispered secrets of hope, urging Clara to embrace the uncertainty. Would she step into that next chapter with her daughter, or would fear hold them back? The morning sun would soon rise, and with it, a fresh chance. Clara closed her eyes, taking a deep breath. Tomorrow would bring new challenges, and she knew deep down that their story was worth telling, no matter the outcome. Clara woke up to the soft rays of morning sunlight trickling through the curtains. It touched her face lightly, urging her to rise. Today felt different. The doubts that had weighed heavily on her seemed a little lighter, as if the night had carried them away. Mom! Mom! Wake up! Lily's excited voice burst through the morning silence, her energy palpable even from the other side of the room. Clara smiled, a spark of warmth igniting within her. Okay, I'm up. Clara called back, throwing off the covers and stretching. She made her way to the kitchen, ready to tackle the day. The smell of toast filled the air as Clara began to prepare breakfast. Lily bounded in, hair tousled, her eyes shining with uncontainable enthusiasm. Can we write more of our story today? Maybe we can finish the first chapter. Yes. Let us do it. Clara responded, her own excitement growing. They had spoken about how their story would start, but now it felt so much more real, like it was their shared mission. They finished breakfast with laughter and ideas bouncing back and forth, creating characters that mirrored their hopes and fears. Once the dishes were cleared, they settled down at the small table in the living room, the journal sparkling in the sunlight as if inviting them forward. Clara sat cross-legged beside Lily, a pen gripped tightly in her hand. Okay, what if we start this chapter with a really fun scene where we get lost in a magical forest? Clara suggested, recalling Lily's vibrant imagination. Lily's eyes widened at the thought, and Clara felt a rush of joy at her daughter's eagerness. Yes. And then we meet the dragon who doesn't want to eat us. Lily exclaimed, bouncing slightly in her chair. Exactly. The dragon can be looking for friends instead. Clara added, letting her creativity soar. Together, they built an entire world filled with possibility and wonder. As they immersed themselves in the narrative, with every sentence, Clara felt the weight of her fears dissipate, but there was still that little voice in the back of her mind, whispering doubts about sharing their story with the world. What if it wasn't good enough? Mom? Lily's voice broke through her thoughts again, bringing her back to the moment. Do you think people will like our story? Clara closed her eyes for a moment, anchoring herself in the positive energy that flowed between them. You know, sweetheart, some people might not understand it, and that's okay. But for every person who doesn't get it, there will be others who feel connected to it. Our story is going to shine because it's ours. Lily seemed satisfied with that answer, returning to their creation enthusiastically. The hours passed quickly, and before long, they had a few pages filled with the beginnings of their adventure. Later that afternoon, as Clara took a rare moment to herself, she grabbed a cup of tea and settled onto the couch, flipping through what they had written. It wasn't just a story, it was a piece of their hearts laid bare on the page. The doorbell suddenly echoed through the house, pulling her from the warm cocoon of words. Clara opened the door to find Ethan standing there, a broad smile across his face. Hey! I thought I'd stop by and see how the writing is going, he said, stepping inside. Clara felt her heart race, not out of excitement but due to the vulnerability crawling up her spine. As Ethan took a seat and asked about their progress, Clara found herself opening up. She shared their ideas gingerly, revealing the magical world they were crafting together, and watched Ethan's eyes light up with every detail. Clara, this is incredible! He exclaimed, leaning forward. You two are onto something really special here. Clara could feel her heart pounding. What if he could help them? What if their story could reach someone who could make a difference? What if we showed it to the world together? Ethan's words hung in the air, filling Clara with a mix of excitement and dread. Could this be the push they needed? Or were they not ready to take that leap? Feeling the weight of her decision settling in, Clara glanced at Lily, who was peering from the kitchen doorway, eyes wide with anticipation. The adventure was becoming real, but could they step forward into the unknown together? Just then, a whimsical thought crossed her mind. What would the dragon in their story do? Mom, are we ready? Lily's voice broke through Clara's daydream. The question resonated deeply. Clara took a breath, gripped by an exhilarating sense of possibility and fear. Would they embrace this opportunity, or retreat into safety? One thing was certain, their story was waiting to unfold, and so was the world. Clara's heart raced as she locked eyes with Lily, whose excitement was contagious. The question hung in the air, urging Clara to respond, but her mind was a swirl of thoughts. What did it mean to be ready? Wasn't every step into the unknown a little scary? Sweetheart, being ready doesn't always mean feeling brave, Clara finally said, sensing the weight of the moment. Sometimes, it means believing in ourselves enough to try, even when we're scared. Lily's face broke into a bright smile, the kind that lit up a room. So, we can try, she exclaimed, bouncing up and down. Clara felt a wave of relief wash over her. Maybe stepping into this new adventure with Ethan didn't mean leaving behind everything that comforted them. It could be an addition to their journey, one that included the magic of sharing their story. Right. Let us talk to him, and see what we can do together, Clara decided. The thoughts of new possibilities twisted and turned like the branches of the magical forest in their story. The fear of failure began to fade, replaced by a strange buzz of hope. They spent the next hour discussing their ideas with Ethan, who listened intently, his enthusiasm igniting their own. You know, he said, his eyes shining with inspiration, their essay writing competition coming up. It's a great opportunity to share your story and reach a wider audience. Clara felt a knot of anxiety twist in her stomach. A competition? What if they didn't win? What if their writing was too different? Yet, as she studied Lily's eager expression, she noted her own hesitation receding. If they were brave together, maybe they had a chance. Lily turned to Clara enthusiastic. Can we do it, Mom? Please. Her eyes sparkled with possibility, and Clara found herself swept up in the moment. Yes, let us give it a try, Clara said, her voice emboldened by a new wave of determination. We can write more, develop our characters, and really dive into the heart of what this story means to us. With renewed vigor, the trio Ethan included set to work. They brainstormed late into the evening, drafting plotlines and discussing character arcs. Clara could feel her doubts slowly melting away like morning fog beneath the sun. Each word brought them closer together, forming bonds of creativity and trust. Hours later, they had a rough draft. Clara looked at the pages strewn across the table, shimmering with the promise of adventure. It wasn't perfect, but it was real, and it was theirs. Lily beamed at her mother, and for the first time, Clara felt as if they might actually be capable of sharing their story with the world. As Ethan prepared to leave, he turned to Clara, his expression sincere. I can help with the submission process. You don't have to do this alone. Clara felt a rush of gratitude and a depth of uncertainty all at once. Thank you, she started, but the words caught in her throat. Could they truly let someone else in to help elevate their dreams? Just think about it, Ethan said softly, sensing her hesitation. You have something beautiful here, and it deserves to be seen. After he left, Clara sat with Lily on the couch, the warmth of their creative session still lingering in the air. Mom, are we really going to give this to the world? Lily asked, a mix of excitement and apprehension pulling at her expression. Yes, but remember, we do it together, Clara replied, pulling her daughter close for a hug. There was strength in their shared commitment, an unspoken promise that whatever came next, they would face it side by side. But just as Clara started to feel ready, the tiny voice of doubt crept back in. In the heights of anticipation came the chills of insecurity. What if no one connected with their story? What if they failed? Mom? Lily's voice whispered through the unsettled silence. What if our dragon is lonely? Clara's heart squeezed. What if they were trying to connect with others yet felt alone in their own journey? Then we have to make sure the dragon finds friends, Clara replied, her voice steadying. Just like us. As the moonlight filtered through the window, surrounding them in a silver glow, Clara understood something profound. Their story wasn't just about the fantasy world they built. It mirrored their journey, their hopes, fears, and the magic they could create together. With a sigh, Clara closed her eyes and took a deep breath. Was courage what they needed? Or was it vulnerability that would carry them forward? It was a leap into the unknown, and Clara grasped Lily's hand tightly, wondering if it would be a journey towards the dragon or into the very heart of their dreams. What awaited them on the other side? The following morning, Clara awoke to the soft chirping of birds outside her window, their melodies intertwining with her lingering doubts. She lay still for a moment, the sunlight streaming in and warming her skin, yet her heart felt oddly heavy. The thought of submitting their story gnawed at her, amplifying her anxiety. "Mom! Are we writing today?" Lily's sweet voice broke through the haze of Clara's thoughts. As she turned to face her daughter, Clara's spirits lifted a fraction. Lily's enthusiasm was like a spark, igniting the flickering flame of hope within her. "Yes, we are," Clara replied, trying to match her daughter's excitement. "Let's make our dragon even more special." Lily grinned, her eyes twinkling as she jumped out of bed, ready to tackle the day ahead. They quickly descended into their routine, oatmeal splattered everywhere, laughter echoing through the house, and the smell of coffee brewing filling the air. Everything felt so blissfully normal, yet Clara was acutely aware that today would be different. They had a goal. As they settled down at their makeshift writing space, a cozy corner crowded with papers and crayons, Clara felt the old nerves creeping back. She tried to push them down, telling herself that they had already created something beautiful. How could it not be enough? But the voice of self-doubt still whispered insidiously in her ear. "Mom?" Lily said, interrupting Clara's spiraling thoughts. "What if our dragon is super brave? Like, really brave?" Clara smiled at her daughter's imagination. "That would be amazing. But bravery sometimes comes with fear, doesn't it? Just like us." Lily nodded, her brow furrowed in thought, and then proclaimed, "Then they can have adventures together." As the ideas flowed, it was as if Clara's worries danced away. The characters sprang to life beneath their fingers, bursting with color and vitality. They crafted tales of bravery, friendship, and the importance of belonging. Each sentence brought them closer, weaving the fabric of their story tighter with each stroke of the pen. Hours passed, and Clara felt a renewed sense of purpose. The familiar anxieties began to dissolve amidst the laughter and joy of creation. In those precious moments, time slipped away as they conjured up grand quests and heartfelt friendships that made even Lily's eyes glisten with excitement. Suddenly, a sharp knock echoed from the front door. Clara exchanged a puzzled glance with Lily as she rose to see who it was. To her surprise, Ethan stood outside, a broad smile stretching across his face. "Hey! I thought I'd drop by and see how the story's coming along." Clara hesitated, caught between gratitude and embarrassment. The unfinished draft sat scattered across the table, pages crumpled and ink-stained, evidence of their chaotic creativity. With a deep breath, she invited him in. "Hi. We were just brainstorming some ideas," Clara said, trying to keep her voice steady. "That's great. I'd love to hear about it." His face lit up with genuine interest as he approached their little writing nook. As they shared what they had come up with, Clara couldn't shake the feeling that Ethan wouldn't just be a helpful ally, there was something more. He listened intently, nodding and encouraging them, bringing out the best in their ideas. Clara found herself unwinding, his presence reassuring rather than intimidating. "I love the concept of your dragon," Ethan exclaimed, a glimmer of admiration in his eyes. "You have a real gem here, a story about courage and connection." And yet, beneath those approving words, Clara could feel the old doubts resurfacing. Was their story really as meaningful as he claimed? Would it resonate with others in the same way it did with them? Lily turned toward her mother, her small hand squeezing Clara's. "We can do this together, right?" "Yes, sweetheart." Together, Clara replied, feeling the warmth of her daughter's faith bolstering her own, but as Ethan moved to gather their rough draft, excitement radiating from him, a flutter of pure terror shot through Clara's chest. What if they had opened a door they couldn't close? What if they failed, not just in competition, but in revealing a part of themselves that was so raw, so deeply personal? "Clara, this part about the dragon forging connections," Ethan began, but all Clara could hear was her heart hammering in her chest. What would happen if they stepped forward, letting others in? Would it amplify their fears, or would it bring them closer to their dreams? As she watched Ethan lean closer to the draft, brimming with enthusiasm, everything seemed to hinge on this moment. "Mom?" Lily asked again, breaking through Clara's spiral of thoughts. "What if this is our chance?" A chance to what? Clara's mind raced with potential outcomes, each more daunting than the last. But then she remembered the dragon, the character that embodied their journey. It was time to find out. As they prepared for the next step, the question hung in the air, heavy with possibility. What if this journey became not just about writing, but something far greater? The sun poured through the window, a burst of warmth washing over Clara as she made her way to the table piled high with their story. Today, everything felt different. The uncertainty that once clung to her like a shadow had begun to lighten, replaced by a flicker of courage pushed forth by Lily's unwavering enthusiasm. "Mom, can we finish our story today?" Lily asked, bouncing on her chair. Her voice rang with excitement, cutting through the haze of Clara's lingering doubts. "Absolutely," Clara said, her heart swelling as they sat down together. They had been through so much: the endless chores, the sleepless nights, the struggles and sacrifices. But today, it was about more than just words on a page. It was about risking their hearts for a chance at something more. As they dove into the writing, creating scenes where dragons became heroes rather than threats, Clara felt her spirits lift. The more they wrote, the more they crafted a tale that mirrored their own challenges. This wasn't just a fantasy, it was their story. "Look, Mom. The dragon is teaching the villagers about friendship," Lily said, her eyes glimmering as she illustrated the scene with vivid colors. Clara watched, a wave of pride crashing over her. Together, they had forged this world, and with it, they were forging their own path, one filled with hope and the promise of a brighter tomorrow. Hours slipped away as they penned plot twists and heartfelt revelations. Clara lost herself in the rhythm, feeling the weight of their struggles transform into words that danced across the paper. When the doorbell rang again, Clara glanced at Lily, her pulse quickening. They were ready, well, mostly, anyway. Lifting the draft from the table, the atmosphere shifted as she opened the door to Ethan once more, a warm smile spreading across his face. "Hey, you two. How's the story coming?" he inquired. "Step inside. It's almost there. We're really excited about it," Clara replied, her heart racing. This was it. They were stepping closer to sharing not just their story, but a part of themselves. As they gathered around the table, Clara pointed out their favorite parts, her voice flowing steadily now. "We've written about connection, about turning fear into bravery. This dragon is like us, facing challenges to find its place in the world." Ethan's eyes sparkled with admiration as he listened. "This is incredible, Clara. It's so relatable. Everyone has their battles. Your story has the potential to inspire others who feel lost." His words ignited something deep within her. The self-doubt that clung to her presence uncoiled slightly, replaced by a burning desire to share their journey. What if they could reach others? What if their story could help someone else learn to face their fears? "Would you want to submit it to that competition we talked about?" Ethan suggested, a confident grin breaking across his face. Clara hesitated. But what if they don't connect with it? What if it's too personal? The nagging self-doubt lingered, but she could feel the edge of hope whispering back. "Sometimes, vulnerability brings strength," Ethan replied, his voice steady. "Your story is beautiful precisely because it's raw and real. Sharing it could be a powerful adventure in itself." With Lily's gaze locked onto her, Clara felt anchored. They had crafted this together. It was their journey, each word a step away from fear and into possibility. "Okay," she whispered, heart racing. "Let us do it. Let us share our story with the world." Lily squealed in delight, bouncing on her chair. Clara felt the resolve hardening in her chest and recognized the truth: facing the unknown was terrifying, but together, they could navigate through it. As they polished their draft and prepared for submission, Clara felt as if they were breathing life into their adventure. Just like the dragon in their story, they were no longer hiding in the shadows, they were stepping into the light. Weeks passed, each day filled with trepidation and hope. Clara held her breath, waiting for news of the competition, a flutter of anticipation dancing in her belly when the email finally arrived. Clara stood frozen, Lily gripping her hand tightly. "Mom, what does it say?" With shaking fingers, she opened it. "Congratulations! We're thrilled to announce that your story has been selected as a finalist." The words burst forth like fireworks inside Clara's heart, igniting a tidal wave of emotions: pride, disbelief, and overwhelming joy spilled out like confetti. Tears streamed down her cheeks. "We did it, Lily! We did it together!" Lily squealed, her joy matching Clara's own as they embraced, the warmth of their love wrapping around them like a cozy blanket. In that moment, it became clear, the risk had been worth it. They had found their voices, and in sharing their story, they discovered their strength. As they began to prepare for the next stage, Clara realized it was about so much more than just winning a contest. They were forging connections, breaking barriers, and becoming part of a community that understood their journey, all the while inspiring others along the way. Clara looked down at Lily, who was now filled with fluttering hopes and dreams. "We'll keep writing, won't we?" Clara asked, a smile spreading across her face. "Forever," Lily chimed, her eyes sparkling. And with that, Clara knew the adventure was just beginning. They had faced their fears, embraced a new chapter, and together, they would write a story that would resonate beyond the pages, a story of love, bravery, and the magic that comes from being true to oneself. The end was only the beginning. Now is the time to support the storytelling journey. Subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm, it really helps, believe me. Comment your reactions and feelings about the ending, I want to hear from you. And share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. This is the moment to show your support. Don't wait not even one more second to share. Only true fans understand the importance of these actions.